Welcome back, and thank you for joining us as we begin week 3 of our races right here on CADEsport. And this is in the 4-week series of what is really keeping me on the edge of my seat for sure, the Pro Power Preview races. And today, as we do with each week, we begin a new course. So let's take a look at where we are today. So we are on the Go Into the Sun Smash. It is a 5 kilometer or a 2.1 mile course, and we're doing 3 laps of it, so 15 kilometers or 6.3 miles. And it is designed to emulate the iconic Glacier National Park in Montana. And so we're going to follow on to a second race here after our main 15 kilometer race as well. Riders today we'll also have the use of some power-ups, which we'll take a look at a second here, but here is our schedule for the remaining Pro Power Preview races. So last week we saw no use of the cornering skills and no use of power-ups. However, that's returning today. Today's course is a medium skill course where there will be some use of the steering mechanic and the crash dynamic that comes with CADEsport. We'll also have 2 power-ups as well, and they will be 2 corner capers and 2 power plants. We'll talk about those more as we get into them. The power plants we haven't seen before, the corner capers you're aware of. We're here with Sebastian, who was one of our previous winners, and he has placed, I believe, 3rd as well in another race. As our riders are actually just warming up right now. Peter, who doing an amazing job on his rollers. Such a good job that I'm wondering if he's kind of shown off a bit. No, great work, Peter. It's awesome. And my apologies, that's Peter we're seeing on the webcam, but Homer we were seeing on the virtual camera. So we've got 1 minute till we go live, and here you're seeing that iconic, beautiful scenery that emulates what you would see on the cycle path in Montana's Glacier National Park. Vibeke there on webcam, getting ready. And on the virtual camera, we've got Rodney Lowe, a bot. And if you do join CADEsport, you can actually program the bots so that you have a virtual training assistant, essentially. You can set a wattage that you wish to beat, and then you have to attempt to beat that cyclist. So seeing a lot of familiar names returning. Let's see if that balance of power can be upset. And we're off. Here we go, Carl Axel, Frank Garcia. Oh, Frank's really off. He's pushing on those cranks for sure. Timothy. Oh, did we just see a crash there? A few crashes all at once. So the red that you see highlight on the riders' names on the right, that indicates that we've had a crash take place. Again, the crash dynamic is equalized. We're going for the medium again, which is a 2.5 second penalty. Sebastian Kuhn, who has won some of the races before. He's with the RSC Auto, see if I can pronounce my German here, Auto Bruch Kempten, German national champion judicial, and a mountain bike masters 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017. So a very decorated rider for sure. Geez, it's been a long time since I've had to pronounce German. Vanessa pushing some power up the front there, who's been a previous winner as well. Peter is clearly holding something back. He's waiting for his right moment, I'm sure. Tim Fulford returning as well. Oh, Vanessa has crashed. These crashes can cause a big upset, as you've seen as well. It's one of the many things that can cause the Pro Power Preview races to really upset the dynamic of who would win in the outside world with the physical equalization system that powers it. Christian Wiedmann, who was the winner of the first race in week 1, is right at pole position right now. Could Christian be the returning champ? Timothy, Belgium's Timothy, showing us some good power here. In a team with Verbeke, they've lost each other at the moment, but I've seen them make great use in the past of the draft benefit as a tactic. Let's see if they can regroup and do that today. Carl Axel, who has placed the most between first and third in our races currently. And we've got Carl on webcam, I think, today. Oh, Christian Wiedmann as well. Again, this is where those crashes can cause big upsets in the placement as we proceed through the race. Yeah, nasty crash on those tight corners there. They're wide enough, but just about tight enough of a chicane that if you're not paying full attention, you'll be gone for sure. Luca as well, just taking another crash. Yeah, Peter looks so comfortable on those rollers. I would not be that confident for sure, so I'm very happy for Peter. Good work there. Very consistent pedal stroke against very solid form. It's what you'd like to see from a road rider. I'm sure we're going to see Peter eat up that time as he did in previous races. And Peter was the winner, I believe, on Saturday. I was supposed to be at the race on Saturday racing instead, and I had a technical. So unfortunately, I was not there. I was really looking forward to it, hoping to really put some power down, but Frank Garcia, brave enough to be on the TT bike, the virtual TT bike. So there are different bikes in CADEsport. You've got mountain bike, TT bike, road bike, and then there's also track. I'm not sure if track has been fully implemented yet. Oh, we've got someone using corner caper. That's Peter. Very skilled use of it, knowing that these big corners were coming up. And slowing his roll for this corner as well. Another good tactic, which you would, of course, have to use in the real world. Oh, was this a Frank crash? Oh. So the only thing with a TT bike is that you're going to see a big bump in power and speed. But just like in the real world, it'll handle pretty good, but not as good as a road bike. Verbeke here, she's managing to eat up some of that time, eat up some of that gap. What I've seen from the webcam, we've got a very powerful rider in Verbeke. So we're going to see her have some challenges yet. And so the power plant is what Frank Garcia has just started using. So that gives 200 watts. I promised I would talk about these, and Frank has given me a good prompt to use this. It gives an additional 200 watts for 20 seconds. So for me, that would be an extra 2.5 watts per kilo. I'm around 79 kilos. So that's given Frank a real good push there. Means he can really rest off those pedals if he needs to, catch his breath, and still gain some good power. Carl Axel bringing up a challenge to the front here. And this is the first time in a while we haven't seen a solid peloton just hold for the entire time. And that shows you what the difference in that steering dynamic coming back in and the crash dynamic also causes, is it can really cause that peloton to break up. And means that everybody is not getting that draft benefit. They're having to really put pressure on the crank arms. Really use their own momentum. Tim Fulford coming up to the front. Timothy showed us a real solid effort again. Hey, Tim. Solid power again. The animation updates in CADEsport as well when you're putting in a considerable effort above your baseline, the rider might get out of the saddle, pressure on the tops, or they might even go into the drops. Christian, he's remembering that he won that first race, and he wants a slice of that pie again. He's not letting Timothy get away with it, but we're seeing solid power from Timothy here. I remember seeing the webcam of Christian on that first race and that pain face. Holy, was he ever putting some pressure on the cranks. End of the first lap, start of the second. We see Timothy in the lead, Christian in second, Sebastian, winner of, I believe that was race 2, week 2, is in third. But a solid challenge from Frank Garcia here. Now we're seeing a peloton form, so this is going to be interesting. That draft benefit is going to change things up, and it's going to see riders really have to assert to get ahead, but maybe with lesser power. Or a couple of nasty crashes there. Tim Fulford, Peter Kastrup. Nasty one right on that edge of the bend there. Carl Axel is bringing the challenge back up, coming back up to this front here. So if you're new to the races, oh, there's Carl. Showing us some real solid power. That's a pain face for sure on Carl. Slow in for the corners, very, very good at paying attention to his handling. Oh, nasty crash there for Tim. Christian taking the lead again. So at the front of the group here, we're seeing some good challenges. And again, I wouldn't want to bet on who's going to take this. We're seeing that shift hands many times. Yeah, he's holding the outside edge of that corner. Very much aware that he's got to handle very well to keep a lead. Fantastic work. Timothy starting to press on those cranks again to eat that lead. So another great benefit to choosing the TT bike, if I'm remembering this rightly, in game there's going to be less tread on the tires, so a lower rolling resistance. More speed, in other words. Corner caper, fantastic use of it, which has put Sebastian way in the lead. Means he's been free to focus on his power, free to focus on getting that tension up. Oh, a series of crashes behind the lead team here, or lead riders, I should say. Christian putting a challenge in. Oh, they are hugging each other's tires. Big bump in power from Christian there. Sebastian's holding very steady on his power, confident in his lead, but also wanting to keep that lead. I'm pretty sure he's putting an awful amount of pressure on those cranks. Oh, just for his wattage dip, I wondered if that was a technical. Oh, Christian and Timothy crashing in that corner trying to chase Sebastian. Oh. I should mention as well, same as other races that have used power-ups, we have 2 of each power-up. There's a 20-second gap between the use of them while they recharge. Carl has used the corner caper to his advantage coming into that very wide sweeping corner to get an advantage, but so has Christian. Oh, and we're seeing a big push from Christian here. Christian was pushing hard in that first race. He was a beast. So I'm pretty sure we haven't seen the last of his effort. Carl Axel pushing hard as well. No other lycras on, just his bib shorts. So I'm pretty sure he's either somewhere really warm or pushing so hard that he doesn't want to wear any other lycras. So that's a clear indication of his effort for sure. Timothy's really showing us what he's got on, really going full guns today. Good handling. Tim Fulford has been paying attention to handling because he has managed to eat up a good amount of that lead as well. Frank Garcia as well is pushing on those cranks again to eat up some time. Oh, and we're using the power plants again to get a nice big punch of power. Sebastian once again taking that lead, but Carl Axel seemingly has noticed that he was using it and has gone for it at the same time. Very powerful rider here in Sebastian. But that's also the thing with this Pro Power mode that is powered by the physical equalization system in CADEsport, is that this can really upset the balance. Those who would win, who would be the top riders or top athletes out in the real world, might not necessarily win here. Your baseline wattage is converted by a very clever algorithm into the equivalent of a very kind of standard pro cyclist. So therefore, if you really want to win, you're going to have to hit 100% of your threshold, and you're probably looking at your anaerobic, so your 20 minute, your 5 minute, your 1 minute, and your 30 seconds. So not the hour, for sure. And you're going to have to go beyond that 100% threshold if you really want to win, because you're going to have to push against the baseline equalization. So Sebastian here just breezing through the end of lap 2 and pushing with some solid power into lap 3. Carl Axel and Christian battling for that second place position, but Timothy is saying, not without me. Tim Fulford, he's got his donut kit on because he's clearly sugar powered, because he's gunning to eat up that lead. Timothy is very steadily closing that gap, and this is kind of one of the things like the tortoise and the hare. Just wait for those who are pushing really hard to lose a bit of it, then gun. So Tim is keeping a very, very solid sweet spot, let's say, so above the baseline but just beneath threshold. And now he's hitting his threshold. There we go. Giving a solid power to just take that lead for second place. And Sebastian's gone. He's clearly just gone for it and gone. Verbika looking to eat up some of that lead, some of that time that has been given to her through a series of unfortunate crashes. Very consistent pedal stroke. So again, you're seeing the equalage wattage number on the right hand side, but nonetheless that is a powerful wattage number. He's at a 192 BPM. My upper BPM that I could really take would be around 190, so he's really going for it. Everyone having different BPMs, of course. Carl Axel here. Sorry if there's short gaps in my commentary here, I'm just closely watching these numbers just to see what they're doing to get past each other. It's fantastic. This is like a fight for that second and third place position like we had in week 1, race 1, where it was just nobody was going to let go. Oh, wow. So Timothy using that corner caper to hold that lead on second place. I love seeing Timothy on the webcam when he's rocking side to side. I'm sure he's in the drops at that point when he's rocking side to side. Peter there, looking cool, calm and collected, which is awesome because he's on the cool, calm and collected team. Living up to the name with just how fantastically together he seems on those rollers. Awesome stuff. There we go, Tim's out of the saddle, pushing hard in the webcam there. We've got Carl Axel on the virtual cam. He's pushing for third place, sorry, but I'm sure he is pushing for second place. There we go, he's pushing up his numbers. Higher cadence as well, which we can see from his animation, his virtual avatar animation. Corner caper right at the exact second he needed it. Fantastic use of it. There we go. That gets him through, and that holds it. Oh, there we go. And that's how you can have the perfect use of a power-up. Using that, you don't have to focus on steering and braking, so you can just put everything into the cranks. Easing off after a big push though, so we'll see what happens there. Sebastian's still just flying with it. And he has been cornering like a champ, so we've seen no crashes. He's got an 11-second lead over Carl, who's now in second place, and it really just proves it with his handling and with what we've seen from him. A crash there from Peter. Timothy's really pushing on it now, seeing some big numbers. Christian, he's given chase, however. There we go, he's opening up a can of something, some spinach, Popeye style. And consistency, which we can see from the animation of his rider as well. Wait, did Sebastian just lap? I think Sebastian just lapped. And then the power plant, as if he needed to give anything more to that lead. So giving him, again, an extra 200 watts on top of his power, perhaps so you can ease up just a little bit, be at the sweet spot, but have a sprint level of power. Christian pushing for third, pushing past Timothy with a power plant. Carl handling like a pro into these corners. Timothy's pushing for that third place position. But it does look, unfortunately, like Christian has opened up a little bit of a gap. But I've seen amazing power from Timothy, so nothing is outside of the realm of possibility. Fantastic handling here. There we go, like a pro. It's almost like he's done this for 2 weeks already. And here we go, end of the third lap. And Sebastian just runs with it. You saw him ease right the way off of his pedals, knowing that it was pretty much done at that point. Going right the way down to 95 watts. Second place for Carl. Fantastic effort. Christian Wiedmann, third place. So I believe in a second here we're going to cut to this next map. I'm going to have to remind myself of the name of this map. So it's the Lakeview, and this is again a flat, another tarmac or asphalt map. 7 kilometers for this one, and there are 0 meters of elevation. So it's going to be a nice, easy one in terms of elevation and road surface, but medium difficulty, as you can see here, with those very tight corners. Almost looks like a crit style map, where riders are really going to want to pay attention to their handling in order to hold leads or to gain leads. So in just a second here we will be cutting over to that map as all riders join in. Ready? So fantastic effort there from Sebastian. And everyone fighting for second and third place. Holy hell, there was some real power being put in there, some real attention to handling skills, and some absolutely fantastic challenges and attacks. I always refer to them as sprints, but if you ever hear people refer to them as attacks, that's the same thing really. It's really when someone puts in that high power. And somebody gets into the drops, pushes themselves up out of the saddle, and then just stands on those crags. Gets everything that's in them into the bike, leaving nothing behind, to hopefully just breeze past another rider. Alright, so there we go, Christian. So yeah, that's exactly 11 seconds. Held that 11-second lead against Carl, but wow, did we ever see a fight there for second and third. Timothy, wow, that was an upset. It looked for certain like we were going to have Timothy in second place. Here we go. So this is the Lakeview map. Again, optimized for road bikes and to an extent TT bikes with the asphalt surface. Very, very tight group here to begin. So we have obstacles as well, as you can see, as well as cornering. Oh, nasty crashes right off the bat. So it looks like we have a whole group up at the lead. Verbika's with that lead group as well. So we're seeing Verbika's power really pay off. Oh, Luca there taking a nasty one in the corner. So we're with Homer here on the Cool Calm and Collected team. And he's putting in a solid push, but oh, just didn't hold that cornering too well. So Homer is here for health, recreation and charity, all great reasons to ride. And again, you can ride for any reason in CADEsport. This isn't just aimed at people who are aiming to train for athletic purposes. You can ride just to get your fitness back up. You can ride to learn your handling skills for outside on a road bike if you haven't ridden road before. If you're more used to mountain bike. If you're more used to just riding recreationally. Tim Fulford, you've seen his full potential here, taking that first place position. Shaq for the CADEsport team is looking to give him a challenge, however. And we've got Carl, Axel and Christian. And Sebastian following up. Sebastian, he's like a shark at the moment. The one to watch. And Verbika eating up some of this gap. There we go, very solid power from Verbika. Out of the saddle. And there we go. So that's a power up. I believe we're still using the corner caper. Oh. And so riders have to get their lane selection right for these obstacles that come up as well. So we've got the, oh damn, I can't remember what that's called in the real world, but the plastic barrier ring. That is, you can essentially hit that if you don't have your lane selection right. So second, third and fourth, all of the challenge here. Carl Axel really proving his power. Tim Fulford really holding his own and holding a very stable position. But draft benefit is a thing. And oh, the other thing with draft benefit is if you're following someone else's power and you don't handle right, you will have a crash like that. Christian taking that first place position now. Oh, solid handling. It looked like he didn't break very much and was keeping his power up as well. So that was very skillful. Handling in game is largely done by a companion app, which you can scan in the home menu, and then it uses a gyroscope. So if you attach it to your handlebars via a mount, then you will be able to literally turn the handlebars like you would outside, and the gyroscope will then navigate you for steering. You can also do it via button prompts, a la gaming. But as we saw there from Christian, it very much looks like he's using the gyroscope function. Just had a crash from Shaq, which caused an upset for the third place position. Carl Axel taking it. Shaq's giving us some very solid power here. Tim as well, who had a nasty spill there and has fallen down the ranks as a result. Erhan looking to push up. Holding very stable power. I'm wondering if once he gets through these corners we're going to see a big push. Oh no. And fantastic lane selection there from Tim. And these great graphics in-game are powered by the Unity engine. But of course, the hard work and the effort and the skinning of assets is all done by Cyclogent, the company behind CADEsport. Christian here, he seems very confident in his lead. He seems to have lapped somebody as well. So when we see a ghosted rider like that, a phantom rider, that is when you've lapped somebody. Christian here, we can see his pain face, really pushing on it. He's been giving us solid power for 2 rides now. Easing off for the corners, very good tactic for handling, both for the real world and, well, of course for the real world, but in-game here as well. There we go. He's used his power up here to gain some speed. Oh, my apologies, that is the power plant power up that we're seeing there. I didn't see the start of the animation in the previous race. Oh, Sebastian, like I said, he's like a shark. He's coming to eat that lead. Now Christian's really standing on it. Oh, and they're both like holding those corners. Holding their cornering, I mean. Oh, look at that. Perfect technique. They're paying a huge amount of attention to their handling right now. Neither one wanting to lose that lead against each other. And Christian realizing, I think that maybe cornering alone isn't going to do it. He seems to be standing on it as well, really standing on those cranks, giving us some full power. Oh, again, Christian by a hair with that handling. I suspect he's not braking by much. So in other words, like a trail brake, the kind of braking that they use for dive bombing in crit racing or criterium racing. Which, by the way, that's a deadly technique if you ever get into, and I mean deadly literally, like, because it can really spin out on you if you ever do criterium racing. Trying to dive bomb is disliked. It's not against the rules, certainly disliked, but it can also, if you do it wrong, can end up in physical injury. Christian, he's really putting pressure on it. Sorry, I mean Sebastian, really putting pressure on the cranks there, really trying to eat that lead. Christian must see the shadow of Sebastian's front wheel creeping up on him here. And now Sebastian's getting that draft benefit. So if he corners well enough, he might be able to use that to his advantage. Oh, here we go. Christian's trying to use the lane selection tactic to shake off that draft benefit that Sebastian will be enjoying right now. That's a fantastic tactic to use. Deprive them of the draft benefit. Keep that power going. Very solid pedal stroke there from Christian. Keeping solid form, in other words. Now out of the saddle, trying to push that lead a little bit further. Good stuff. Now that's a pain face. It's what we like to see, Christian. Look at that. Both using power-ups as well. Wow. Christian's home and away with it right now, it seems. But Sebastian has shown us some phenomenal and dangerous power before. Here we go, final push. Last, let's say 100 meters. Christian just runs with it. Sebastian second. And Carl Axel, at the moment it looks like third place. Tim Fulford is using one of his power-ups to gain an advantage. Let's see if that's going to pay off for him. There's a 4-second lead at the moment from Carl. Still 4 seconds. And yeah, Carl takes that with ease. Tim, 4th place. Shaq for 5th, but Erhan is putting in the challenge here. Shaq 4th, Erhan 5th. Oh, Homer taking a nasty crash there. Husband and wife team there, Homer and Kay, the Thompsons. And both coming over the line pretty much together, or they were going to, until Luca used a power up here. Oh wait, no, there's a challenge from Kay. There we go, Kay holds that comfortably. All right, so again, another great example of how Pro Power can cause some upsets even from one race to another that are literally back to back. So Christian first place with a, let's call that 5.5 second lead on Sebastian. But Sebastian really showing us that he's one to watch for sure. Carl Axel still holding that position of being the highest placed or most placed rider in the races so far, between first and third. So a fantastic second race. Now we have one final map today, race 3. So you're getting a real bumper crop today. It's one of our sci-fi maps, completely flat, 4.2 kilometers, called Echelon. And it is one of my favorites for sure, where I like to do a lot of my sprint training, which by the way you can do in CADEsport with the training packages that they have. And I like to use the AC speed builders 5 times 1 minute. Here we go. So this one is again medium scale, just because it's got those 2 big wide sweeping turns. It also really has no fence for crashing as well. So I've noticed with crash animation in the past when I've rode this course, the avatar can go flying over the edge, which is quite fun and humorous to watch sometimes. So Kay Thompson, again part of the Cool, Calm and Collected team with Peter and Homer, and again for health, recreation and charity. So again, just to reiterate, you don't have to be some kind of lycra-clad pro to join CADEsport. You can be here to get your fitness back up. You can be here to maintain the fitness you had in decades of riding, or as a newcomer to cycling altogether. Erhan in the lead. Nice work, Erhan. Really holding steady. Frank Garcia in the German colors. Oh, so the CADEsport team, Frank and Shaq taking the lead. But here's where the tricks come into play. This is the handling section. Oh, nasty crash from Shaq. Frank holds it. Erhan does a great job with the cornering there, putting in his power now on the straight, putting in an attack, if you will. Christian putting in an attack. Frank holding very solid on the front there, making me eat my words about the handling of a TT bike, which is great. I like being made to eat my words because I love seeing a big upset come in these races. I get really excited about those challenges, those sprints. And so here we are, Erhan taking that first place position. But Frank Garcia is gunning for it, really showing us that lower rolling resistance of a TT bike. TT, or tri, as it might be called in the outside world, a tri bike, as they are most commonly used by triathletes. Tim and Frank really fighting for that first place position. Oh, and they're both doing the same tactic. Slow your roll and do a hard corner, a hard bank. Homer with Cool, Calm and Collected, showing that he's not out of the race yet, as is Erhan. Christian Wiedmann is beginning to put in a solid push now. So Shaq being short for Sharon Hackathorn. My apologies, I was about to say Hackathon. Hackathorn. Kay, the husband and wife team of Homer and Kay Thompson. Sebastian. So again, this is the Pro Power mode at its finest. We can see how riders are not always guaranteed to be in the same position. They're not always guaranteed to show the same performance because of the physical equalization system that brings everyone's baselines together. Meaning that if you ride at baseline, you're going to be able to stick together, which is much nicer than a certain bungee mechanic in a certain other virtual cycling platform, in my opinion. Tim Fulford pushing for that lead. But Frank Garcia is really holding solid, steady power in his Germany-coloured kit. Homer Thompson in the cool, calm and collected bespoke kit, or custom kit in North America. Bespoke being, I guess, British slang. But that is a good thing to mention, that we do have in CADEsport the ability to have custom kits for teams and for clubs, and also for the team themselves to be able to control who has those kits. Also as well, you just saw a use of the emojis. CADEmojis, as Beth named them, nicknamed them, dubbed them in game here. Very similar, if you want to have an analogy to what they're similar to the Facebook Reacts. And you can do that in game, both as a spectator and as a fellow rider. Another great way that you can support your fellow rider. Sebastian, lower down the table this time. And again, another great example of how handling crash dynamics and the Pro Power mode itself can change things. If you're new to CADEsport, there are various modes in game. You've got the raw power, which is if you're on a smart trainer, or even on a regular fluid or magnetic turbo. It's the effort that you put in, the resistance against the tension of the chain, that is coming out as your raw wattage. Pro Power mode is the algorithmic equalization, however. All right, so let's take a look at this league table. So Tim Fulford there, by a hair, getting that first place position. It's just about a full second. Homer Thompson second by about, yeah, that's a solid 3 seconds. And then Sharon, or Shaq, in third there. So fantastic effort from everyone, and we saw a real variety of placements in first through to third, across races 1, 2, and 3 today. Fantastic effort from everyone involved. All right, so we will be back on Thursday. So do join us then. We'll be in the same maps as we are for each week. We have a different map per week, I should say. And it's been a great privilege to commentate on this race for you today. And I look forward to seeing you Thursday.